Hello, everyone. I see participants still joining us. So, hi, everyone. I am Salwa Nana, President of Akhawayn Alumni Association. And in my name and in the name of the members of the association, I would like, first of all, to wish you a very happy and blessed Ramadan. I wish you as well strength, patience through this unprecedented circumstances that our world is going through. So we're going through a time of uncertainty, a time of physical lockdown, but also a time of change and solidarity, during which we have seen the emergence of new leaders who are being creative in proposing new initiatives and new projects to help lessen the impact of this crisis and also prepare for a better future after this crisis. Our alumni community counts amongst its members some of these leaders who are proposing new products or services to match our new changing customer needs and habits. Most of the proposed solutions, they do rely on technology or are enabled through technology. I am personally still very impressed by the example of the grocery shop in my neighborhood, or in other words, Mulhanut, who has actually switched his business from a brick model to a click model in very quick time. So Mulhanut now has an online store, an e-commerce solution in which we can do our requests, our delivery requests, and he can deliver them. Um, After going through Instagram, for example, and WhatsApp and other tools. So this type of e-commerce solutions is only one type of the solutions that our guest today has been developing since the age of 12 years old. So our guest today is the expert in the digital world in IT, Kaiss Bouali, who graduated from Al Akhawayn University in 2015 with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. And since then, he has worked in multiple ventures and has developed multiple products on different technologies. So Kaiss, I don't know if I should introduce you as an engineer or as an entrepreneur or as an artist as well, since you do graphic design also. Or maybe I would just make the task easier on myself and ask you my first question. Who are you, Kaiss Bouali? I can't hear you, Kaiss. Maybe you should activate your mic.
Okay, how about now?
It's perfect.
All right. So, hello everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Al Akhawayn Alumni Association for inviting me to this first event. And also, I would like to wish all of you Ramadan Mubarak Saeed wa kull aam wa antum bi khair. So before I can introduce myself, I would like to talk a little bit about what we are living in right now. So for me, I don't always consider this as a pandemic that we need to get rid of as soon as possible, and we stress about it and all that. But also, I can consider it as let's say a wake-up call for all of us, and also an opportunity for us to work even harder and to try to innovate and to try to find solutions and to try to develop our own Morocco, our own country. So, and also I would like to notice that we have made a lot of breakthroughs since the coronavirus pandemic started. We switched from physical class learning to e-learning. We switched from, we noticed almost about 600% growth in e-commerce starting March, which is huge in my opinion. I think that we have the skills, we have the necessary skills, we have we have the funds, we have everything that we need to have in order to do this. We just needed this wake-up call. We just needed this this push, this nature's way of saying, guys, start doing something. So for me, I consider it also as an opportunity for us as entrepreneurs, or for us as Moroccan citizens in general, to change and to try to do something great. So today I will be talking about how can technology shape our lives. How can we use this? How can we try to live our lives, or treat every problem or every issue that we face using technology? Now I can answer Salwa's question. So
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Kaiss Bouali. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a web development enthusiast. I have almost 16 years of experience in web development, and between 3 and 4 years in entrepreneurship. I started once I graduated from AUI. I went straight to the entrepreneurial world for the simple reason that I wanted to become an entrepreneur since I was a kid, and for me, I would like to do something. I would like to create a lot of things, and you can do that as well, whether you're a web developer or a business business person, or these are just tools. Okay, these are just tools that you will help you to become an entrepreneur if you want to, of course. So for me, it was a challenge because I didn't go to the regular way. I didn't have like much experience in the job market and working as an employee. So I had to learn a lot of stuff along the way. But alhamdulillah, for me, I think it's worth it, and anyone who tries that will think it's worth it. So
And we're very proud of you, Kaiss, and very pleased that you have accepted our invitation, and you have accepted also to share with us your experts' insights on how technology can shape our lives. From your introduction, I think that it already has shaped our lives, but let's see with you how it can shape further our lives, and how we can capitalize on technology to make our lives better. So before giving you our digital floor, Kaiss, I would like just to let our attendees know that they can share any questions they have or any comments on the section that they have on the right of the screen, and we will be going over them by the end of the presentation. So the digital floor is yours now, Kaiss.
Thank you, Sarah. Before I start this, I would like to tell a joke that I read somewhere. I'm sure that when we get very old, inshallah, if we have the chance to, we become 70 or 80 years old, our grandkids will come and ask us, "Oh, hey, grandpa or grandma, can you tell us about the Corona times? So about the year 2020." So, well, you will answer, well, it all started with someone sneezing. Yeah, everything went downhill from there. So it's gonna be a story to tell. For me, it's gonna be a story to tell. We are going through this, and we will learn a lot from this, and we will change a lot when we are done with this. So don't worry, guys. We are gonna be fine. Okay. So I would like to talk about a few points for me, because of course technology is a vast, very vast field. Web development is just a tiny dot in this ocean. You have AI, you have deep learning, you have mobile apps, you have the whole deal. But I would like to summarize what I wanted to talk about in these major 4 points. For me, these major 4 points will make us change a lot of stuff that we are doing in a lot of, we can change the way we live if we are excelling, or if we at least work on these 4 points. So if every person in this country works on this and tries to invent or to do anything, or to problem solve, or to try to find a way to fix things using these 4 points, we're going to be much better. So as I said before, we have the skills, we have the budgets, alhamdulillah, we have a great economy. If you compare us to other countries, we are good. We're not that bad, but we need to be able to process that, and we need to be able to use that in our favor. So the first point I would like to start with is e-services and business process management. So what I mean by that, that in any step that you take, there is a process involved, whether it's work or even home. If you want to go to the grocery store, you have a series of steps to take. Okay, and in every process in our lives, there is some room to improve and some room to optimize. And we have discovered a great change in a lot of processes that we had a long time ago. Maybe this new generation will probably not feel that, but if you are old enough to know that there was a time where banks did not have web apps or mobile apps, and every time you just want to send 100 Ds to a friend, you need to go all the way to the bank and stay on that line for minutes or even hours if necessary. So now I think most of us do their payments at home. Some of us still can't. And this is another point that we wanna talk about. But the majority now can use web apps, mobile apps to reduce the time to do something. It's all about efficiency. Okay, and if you take this and think about it a bit more, you're gonna find that bank did a huge effort to make a what we called workflow management platform, or a BPM, that stands for business process management. And for e-services, anything that is a service that you know, that livraison à domicile, or payment of مثلا الضوء الماء, and so on and so forth. These were all services to the community that once were offered only by traditional manners, but now you can do them online. You can use your mobile phone to do them. So when all of us start to work on this, when all our big entities try to work with this, we will have a more fluid workflow in our lives. So when you say we have a database, we have a platform where people can do requests, you are working like somewhere and you want to send a leave request or a sick leave request, and you have this great database that you use in order to know who is doing what, who is working on what, who left, who joined. In all these data, you can later use this data elsewhere. And this is what brings us to the next point, which is big data analytics. So to summarize this point, we need to automate and we need to digitalize all processes that we know of, whether you working in an office, or buying food, or washing your car, or walking your dog. any process. I mean, yeah, of course, walking dogs, you just go out and walk your dogs. But if you think about a process that can make you walking your dog easier in the near future, then you will do it, of course. So when you have a good business process management in every aspect, in every corner, you will have huge data to process. And we need data for multiple reasons. And that what will take us to the big data analytics. And big data analytics is a huge field that is fairly new for us. And we need to think about it more. We need to know how can we work with big chunks of data? How can we use huge databases to process I don't know, dashboards? Like, you want to know, for example, if we want to use this in the coronavirus case here, you should know that big data will actually help us a lot to fight this. I mean, if you have a way to know exactly and in real time how the virus is spreading and where are the black holes, as we can maybe name them, where can you find the spread, where is it safe to go, where it is not safe. I mean, in China, when they were done with this, they have a mobile app. When you open it, it will open a map for you, and it will give you the places where they found corona before. In every corner, in every road, you can find, like, even in signs, you can find road signs that were touched by people who had coronavirus. I mean, how crazy is that? And they are, it's the most populated country in the world. So think about how they did this, and how this app will help us or help them stop the spread very quickly. So big data analytics, everyone should think of that at least on a basic level, so that we can know how can we save our own company's money, how can we save our country's economy, how can we analyze what's the best way for us to do specific things. So this will help us do that. And if we don't have the right skills to do big data analytics, it's going to be very hard for us to analyze data now that we are all online. A lot of stuff is going on online. Shopping is being done online. I mean, a lot of companies would not even exist now if big data analytics wasn't there. I mean, even e-commerce. I mean, if you don't have a grasp of exactly who are the people who are buying from your store, where do they live, why did they buy that, what else do they need? If you don't have this type of data, then you have very small chance of continuing. So let's
very key for decision making, let's say, and for building sustainable strategies.
Exactly. Yes. For me, big data can be used. Well, I only talked about the business side, but it can also be implemented in the governance side. And if you have enough data and enough information to make the right decisions, to save or to work on sustainable energy or to work on all other projects that can help us, then yeah, I mean, big data analytics can be applied everywhere, I think. Yeah. So now that we know a bit more about big data analytics, we have a big chunk of data. We need BI tools, we need the dashboards, we need all of that. But also we need something that will help us optimize on how are we dealing with this data and how can we use this data in another context. Like, for example, you can have, for me, I mean, last year we were working on a project on Tubib, which is trying to find a way to use data to actually know what's wrong with someone, or at least the symptoms. What do they mean? How the patient will choose the specialty of the doctor to go to, and all of that. Then you need to bring data and you need to process it in a specific way. So you need people to take the data and read it and analyze it. But when you have billions and billions of rows of data, you will not be able to do that. But now that we have artificial intelligence, this item right here will help us dig deeper into this big chunk of data. So a brief explanation of what AI means for people who don't know what AI means. It's like you try to clone, or you try to create a human brain. Okay, so how does the human brain work? You see something many times in many cases and you try to form a pattern. Okay, if you take a robot and you make the robot walk on a sidewalk for 20 years, if you take that robot and put it in another sidewalk, it will not know how to walk. Why? Because there was no pattern there. It was just that exact sidewalk that the robot was in. But a human will know this sidewalk is exactly like that. So if we take any one of you in this audience and we fly you to Vietnam, or to, I don't know, to a place where you were never there, you will still know how to walk and to greet people, and you will still know how to do stuff that you never did there because you were never there. So this is how the human brain works. We try to do the same thing in robots, and that's what AI means. AI means that you try to take a scenario and try to take as many other similar scenarios and make the computer believe that it's the same thing. So that's why when you are working on AI, there is something called training. When you create an algorithm, you give him a certain set of data and you give him the outcome. And you say, look, this is the outcome of that. And I will give you another row of data. And again, I will tell you the same thing. This is exactly like the previous one.
It's a learning process.
Yes, I keep feeding you with thousands and thousands of gigabytes of data. I mean, it's huge. This is what's called AI training. You train your algorithm to know more, and then you start giving him cases that you never gave him before, and try to know if it will give you the right answer or not. And that's what learning is, and that's what we want to do with big data. I mean, if you have a lot of data and you try to work on a big AI algorithm, and let's say we can someday have a way to proctor exams for baccalaureate without having the need of having teachers present there. This idea just popped on my mind right now. I mean, if you know the pattern of cheating, the pattern of the eyes leaning around, and you have a massive data of years of training, then you can spot cheaters using cameras. You don't need people to do that because you will have a trained virtual brain to do that. So, well, of course, this has its goods and bads. I'm not gonna ignore that, but this is a tool that will make us do a lot of things better in the future. And I will try to make this short because time is running around. But all of this, I talked about this. All of this will not, and I am sure of what I'm talking about, will not be possible without cloud computing. A lot of people say, no, well, cloud computing is a luxury that will make you able to, to worry less about storing data. No, for me, cloud computing is a must if we want to do this, because big data analytics, AI, BPMs, and all that, it needs a way of. Well, okay, let's talk a bit about it. You have a platform, you have a database, you have any tool that is working 24 hours. It needs to be working somewhere. It can be working from your laptop, but when you go to sleep, you switch off the laptop. You need a place that will be working 24 hours, 7 days a week, and it should have a big bandwidth, and it should have a big CPU and big fat RAM, and it should have someone sitting next to it waiting for something bad to happen to intervene. This is what hosting is. This is what on-premise hosting is. You buy big machines and you pay millions for them, and you pay power and you pay people to maintain them, to host platforms, and that is good. That is what most of the current big names here do. But what if something bad happens? I mean, anything. Yes, sure, you say backup. Okay, how much do you pay for this? Why? Why do you do that? Why do you buy 1 terabyte of storage, but you only use 100 gigs? You're wasting your money, and now time is money, and anything else is money in terms of tech. So why don't you borrow the exact specs that you need? You need 100 gigs, you borrow it. You need more, you add more. You don't need more, you need less, you give less back. And you pay for what you use. So this is what cloud computing is. You pay for what you use, and if you want to scale, you scale. If you want to go back, you go back, and you pay for what you use. And when you see big names like maybe, okay, let's say Lyft, which is an app like Uber, they are hosted on Amazon. They don't have any servers. They don't have any physical thing. All their platform and database, it's on AWS. They are relying 100% on AWS for the whole multi-billion-dollar business all over the world. So why they can trust, with their multi-billions, they can trust the cloud and we don't? I mean, a lot of people, I ask them, move to the cloud. They talk about, well, I don't want to, I have sensitive data, I have. Did you know that you have more chances being hacked having a server in your bedroom? More chances than if you were using Google Cloud or AWS or Azure. Even if you go to the mountains and you you put the server there and you bury it, you have more. Why? Because you're alone in this. I mean, you can hire the best tech team in the world. You can spend a lot of money on that, but you will always have a way of someone to break your door. But if you dedicate this to a big name that its only concern is hosting, and they don't do anything else, except for Amazon, because there are Amazon. But if you go to any hosting, any big name, that it's their only concern is to protect your data, and they have teams of hundreds of engineers. You probably have a team of, let's say, 5, 6, okay, 10, okay. No, they have hundreds of people working 24/7, 365, working on protecting your machines. Why don't you move to the cloud? So for me, the best way of having all these points, all these right here, e-services, big data analytics, AI, if you don't have cloud computing, it's going to be very hard to do this. I'm not going to be you can't. You can, but it's going to be very hard to do this. So to sum up this, for me, we need to use the technology that we have, and we need to innovate, and we need to think of every problem that we face, and we need to solve every problem that we have. And without technology, now, because before technology was a luxury. I remember when I had my first mobile phone. It was a big fat Alcatel with an antenna, and I took that from 3 generations. It was.
I think we all remember this particular phone.
Exactly, it was belonging to my mom, and then to my older sister, and then to me. So, so when you see someone holding that phone, it's wow, he doesn't need that, but wow. Now imagine yourself without a smartphone. No, you cannot. Even at work, if they don't find you, if they call you after hours and they don't find you, it's your problem. Even though you're done with work, but you are expected to be online, and you are expected to be reachable. So a lot of other stuff are now following the same path. The IT world, or the IT field, is now becoming a necessity for us to make more money, to grow our businesses, to develop our country, to develop our schools. And now we have e-learning, we have e-health, we have fintech, we have all of the major pillars of every country. You have education, health, you have industry, you have banking. All of these are now using technology 100%, maybe 90%. So my point now, to summarize this, is we need to move forward, and whether you're an IT person or a business person or a humanities person or an artist, you need to have a grasp, or a basic grasp, of just a knowledge. I'm not asking you to go coding, just knowledge of what's going on and what can you do to make your life better using technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaiss, for all these insights on 4 main blocks of technology which can enable us to make our life easier. I have a question for you, Kaiss, based on your experience now dealing with Moroccan companies in the Moroccan market. We have the technology, like you said, and you spoke, for example, about business process management. There is even today what we call robotic process automation, which makes an automation much easier. And there is also, like, for example, you spoke about data analytics, you spoke about artificial intelligence, which are key for intelligent decision making now being implemented in other companies, but I'm not sure if there are use cases in Morocco yet. So what do you think that we need to convince the Moroccan business to move towards technology? I mean, we felt the change with COVID-19 crisis. Now, like you said, we have the e-learning, we have the e-health solutions, and but I don't think it's enough. Personally, it's personal level. So, what is your view on this, and what do you think we need to do in order to push for more usage of technology?
So, if you want to convince someone to do anything, you need to give him a reason, him or her, a reason why. Okay. So when you go to businesses, what do businesses do? They make money. So the only why that you should think about, how is this gonna either make them more money or save them? You can't go to a business and ask them to use a specific tool because it's cool or because it's nice to have or because other people will think you're good. No. Is it gonna make me money? No. Is it gonna help me save money? No. Okay, thank you very much. So if you go to a specific business and you ask them, okay, what do you have a website? Let's go as simple as possible. Do you have a website? Before you go there, you need to know, what do they do? Do they sell stuff? How do they make money? And how can you convince them to make even more money using a website? So when you go there, you convince them using the arguments that they want to hear. And if you talk with people about cloud computing, I had a lot of experience with this. People avoiding the cloud for the simple reason that they cannot see the data. I mean, when a client tells me that I cannot see it, it's not in front of me, I answer, well, if it's on a server in front of you, can you see the data? You can't. You are seeing a machine. So for me, it's the same thing. So for me, the reason is not about seeing the data or not. It's about being scared that you might lose the data, and because data makes you money, then you're scared that you will end up losing money. So we go back to the same point. So you try to convince them with the arguments that the technology will make your business better. We're not gonna specify, is it gonna make you money or save you money? It's going to make your business better. And if we do the same thing for all businesses, businesses will be better and our Moroccan economy will be better because they are paying taxes. And the more successful businesses you have, the better economy you will have. It's all tied up.
So probably there is a lack of information or knowledge about the value that these technologies can bring, because a lot of them actually they come at cheaper costs in terms of the value that the clients can get. And here, for example, we can speak about RPA, which can help companies increase their productivity very significantly and reducing the cost as well. And you mentioned also a very good point, which is also we as let's say IT people, we also need to know very well the business of our clients and what they need. And there is a term which is widely used now is we do speak about artificial intelligence, but we do speak more as well about applied intelligence. That is, how can I apply the intelligent tools to resolve a business problem or to add value to my clients. So thank you, Kaiss. I think we can move now to the questions and answers. And I'm going to quote here a question from Fatem Zahra. She's saying, what is your insights about education and technology post-COVID-19 crisis? I work in education and we had to start using virtual classes and so on without a proper training. And we have decided to keep virtual classes for the future, but we need to prepare better to do so.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much, Fatima Zahra, for asking about the education, which is a very important pillar. For me personally, education is going to change in general right after COVID-19, because we noticed a lot of growth now in how are we delivering our educational message to our students and pupils. For me, the physical class, now that we are trying this because we have to, not because we wanted to, the physical class is no longer needed. You can deliver the message and you can teach people anywhere in the world. But there are some stuff that you need to do. First of all, you need to make sure that the pupils and students can benefit from the technology that you are using. So let's say education in public schools is going to be much harder to do online than education in private schools. And we all know why. So what we need to do is we need to help the community and help the people who are not familiar with this technology to learn and to reach. That's the first thing, to reach this technology. And once you provide them with this, then they can benefit from this. And I will give you an example. What I'm doing now and what I've been doing in the past, let's say 11 years, 90% of it I learned on YouTube and other websites. To be honest, I went to AUI, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. I'm not gonna say it didn't help me. It helped me a lot. I mean, without that, you learn so much. But if you just rely on that, I don't think you will do much. Why? Because learning in general is very fast, and a lot of stuff is created every day. And if you can learn anything online, you can do it. But of course, now we are talking about kids. So for me, I worked on this before, and I know a little bit about this. E-learning is not that easy to do. I'm going to be honest with you, but it's something, when you achieve a certain level, you can see how easy it is to deliver your message in a different way. You can create live classes online. You can even have the exact same timetable that the students had in their physical class. You just change it to online. Instead of going to school, they will just open their laptops and they will see their teacher. They will, now we can afford, I mean, the internet connection is going cheaper and cheaper, and we can afford watching live videos and exchanging homework, exchanging exams. We can even proctor exams online. So for me, the education in Morocco will change, but it needs to be changed over time. It will take some time to change. It's not going to change overnight, but it will take some time to change. And I think that e-learning will stay even after this pandemic.
Yeah, that was my question, or coming to you. Don't you think that technology now can make the change sustainable in different fields, whether it's education, whether it's health, for example? And I would like if you can just spare a few minutes introducing your platform to be to our audience. It's actually a platform that I discovered before the pandemic. It was very useful to check, the doctors, the reviews, etc. And I'm very happy to see its use today. It's widely used for tele consultations. Can we speak a bit about it?
Okay, of course. So I started Toubib.ma. This is the platform's name. So Toubib.ma is a platform that will help people look for doctors online and book appointments. So this was the initial idea, and after that we started working on different ideas in the e-health. So I'm gonna real quick show you this. So this is how the platform is now, and people can just come here and look for doctors, and they can use their geographic location to look for their the closest doctor they can find. So for me, e-health is a very important thing for several reasons. First of all, when you talk about looking for doctors, you talk about a process. And now we will go back to the first point I talked about, which is processes in life. And how can you optimize the way of doing a specific thing, even if it's personal. For me, a long time ago, when I want a doctor, I will ask my friends and my dad's friend's neighbor and ask them, please, do you know a good dentist? They will show you a good one for them. Maybe it's not going to be good for you, so you go. I'm not trying to say that some doctors are good, some doctors are not. This is a personal thing. You may like a doctor because you will feel at ease, maybe another one will not. So and then you will have to go look for it and look for the landline and call them and ask for to book an appointment at 9:30. You will go there at 9. You will find 11 people behind you, but they will go first because they came first. So you end up meeting the doctor at 11 a.m. So you see the process and how messy it is. You can just go online from your bedroom, click on geolocate. It will give you the nearest doctor to your house, and then you can see the reviews that other people gave that doctor. You can click on book, choose the time, and then go back to sleep. So here we have an example of how to optimize a simple process, but the idea will not stop here. Toubib will go from here to a teleconsultation platform now that we have a live one. I'm going to share that with you real quick.
So while you share it, Kaiss, I'm just going to share with you a question that we have on the same sector, which is the health. So the question says that from your experience, what would be the right approach to digital transformation and technology use in Morocco, especially with the change management process, which means changing people's mindset, which is still usually on status quo. Can you briefly present your personal approach on the medical sector?
Okay, so the medical sector is again among the most important pillars in our lives, and the medical sector can benefit hugely from technology, but there are some drawbacks about it. The drawbacks is that, first of all, without proper ruling and without proper authorizations and without proper documentations, You will not be able to do that. Why? Because it's health. It's humans' health. So you need to be careful about it. You can't just go bananas and to create products and innovate. If someone, if some of you heard about the Theranos case, you can Google that. Theranos. It was an e-health project that went from hero to zero. It was a big fraud in the U.S. back in 2010. So e-health is a serious field, or health is a serious field, and if we want to add the E to it, we need to be even more serious and we need to be even more careful. So there are solutions. There are solutions to make the appointments become better. There are solutions to make the visiting doctors better instead of going there. If you can meet them online with cameras and like we are doing now, we are just having a webinar instead of a seminar. So it's exactly the same thing, but each one of us is in his or her home. So you can do the same thing with the doctors, minus some minor stuff that if you need to be checked by the doctor, you need to be there. But if not, you don't need to be there. And these 2 points are among a lot of other points that we can do to revolutionize the way of using health entities and tools in Morocco. But again, we need to be careful and we need to know what we are doing. But if we do it right, it's going to be one of the best things is to work in e-health, and that's why I chose to work in e-health, because it's very promising, it's very rewarding.
And do you think, Kaiss, that this pandemic will help change the mindset of people when it comes to technology and have them trust it and invest in it? Because one of the problems observed when it comes to the implementation of IT solutions or technology is the lack of trust.
Of course, this pandemic will help us for one reason. What you said now, trust. Before we had a choice. So if you have a choice, you always go with your guts and you always go with what you feel safe in. But now we don't have a choice. E-health, e-learning, schools are closed. Deal with it. If you don't want your kids to go to school, they will lose a year. It's your problem. That's it. This is a major state concern. So schools will be closed. We are on the other side, giving you the opportunity to continue your classes using e-learning. So it's not a choice. You need to do it. And once we try it and it works, we start trusting it again. So it's the same thing for e-health. If people who have, let's say, regular sessions with their psychologist, they can't miss one single session, or the whole treatment is gone. The psychologist will say, look, you don't need to be here. I don't need to go to my office. I can't go. So either meet me online or don't. It's not really what I hoped for, but it is what it is. So you have to try it because you don't have a choice. And when you try it and it works, even after this pandemic is over, you can continue doing it. You say, okay, well, I can go online and pay him online with my card, because online payment is now something easy to do, not like a long time ago.
Because you would have already felt the value that it brings and have trusted the solution already. So we have 5 minutes, Kaiss. We'll try to go over the questions that we have. Youssef is asking you, do you think that there is still place for Moroccan technology companies in the cloud computing sector? I mean, building local data centers that will be successful both on the technical and the financial aspect.
Of course, I think that Yes, we have the skills. We have everything that we need to have in order to do this. And I am among the advocates of this being a reality as soon as possible, because as you know, besides Tobib, I am also senior partner and CTO at ioSolutions, which has the IOD brand, IOD, which is a cloud hosting provider in Morocco. I vouch for having our own data centers. Why? Because, to be honest, most of web hosters that you can find in Morocco are not using machines in Morocco. We don't use machines in Morocco. We use them in another place. Why? Because it's better quality and cheaper. I mean, we can pay more than that here, because here you don't have the right infrastructure. And why don't you have that? Because simply there isn't the right need. I'm not gonna say that we can't, because I know we can, but it's about having the will and having the need. I mean, when you need something. And also, this pandemic might create this need, because we can easily have everything shut, in every communication shut between Morocco and any other place, in terms of data hosting, and in terms of everything will change. This pandemic will change the whole thing. But we need to start using our own skills and using our own tools, using our own ERPs, using our own CRMs, using our own e-commerce platforms, using our own machines. Why? Because we can, and it's going to be cheaper if we do it on a larger scale. Why I said it's more expensive? Because we can do it in a smaller scale. I can go buy a 2 million dirham room full of hardware, and I can provide hosting, but I'm gonna pay 50,000 dirhams a month for power.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a bay of, let's say, 20 hectares of hardware with sustainable energy, with natural cooling, if you go install it in the mountains, so you have less need for cooling, and you use solar panels, so you have less need of power, and you have a big name with you managing this, then it's going to be way cheaper. And then you can offer that even to other countries. I mean, if you go to AWS or Google, you can find their data centers in Bahrain, in India, and why not have an AWS DC in Morocco?
Mm-hmm.
This is just one idea, but we can have our own DC.
Okay, so we have 1 minute, Kaiss, so we will try to be quick for and take two more questions. One is on Tobib. Quickly, how do you manage payments on Tobib?
So we are working now on the V2 of Tobib, which is going to be very soon. The V2 will have payments online using a credit card or using a wallet. The V1 only has offline payments, because the V1 was made to provide a service mainly for doctors. We were trying to make sure that the product is very helpful for the doctors, and then we can add the payment later. And with this pandemic, now we have to add payments. But before it was like an idea. Now we have to add payments.
Okay, so we're gonna close with one question, a personal question. What was the trigger that made you move to entrepreneurship, and what is your advice to stay competitive and successful?
Okay. If you want to stay competitive, and if you want to become successful, you need to try failure first. because if you don't fail, you're not going to amount to anything. And I can promise you that. You need to go to the ground. Seriously, you need to go to the ground, and you need to like feel very down. Once you start feeling down, you should be happy, because if you weren't competitive, you'll say, who cares? Let's just go for a job and that's it. Call it quits. But if you really feel down and you really feel awful that you failed once and twice, then you are on the right track. And what made me want to do this is because I want to do what I want to do. I'm not that rebellion saying that I don't want to work for people. No, I don't mind working for people, but I
You
want
said
to
it was
work.
your childhood dream. You said it was your childhood dream as well.
It was a childhood dream. I mean, I remember once I was a kid. I told my parents I was very young. I was like 8. I told them when I become older, I want to be the manager of the car manufacturing company. It was like, for me, was one name in the world who was manufacturing all the cars in the world. So for me, it was like, I want to be the manager. So yeah, I want to do something that I want to do. Why? Because when you are working on your things, you can work 16 hours for all I care, and you won't feel down. You won't feel tired, because it's your things. It's your baby. If it's not your baby, you can't add 1 minute of work. Even if you have a very easy task, even if you have an email to send, you will not do it, because who cares? It's not yours. Go play with your kids, or go. But when you have a project, well, you need to have time to play with your kids. That's very important. But you will have a hard time doing it. But when you figure out how to do it, it's going to be amazing. And you will go down and fail, and then you will stand up again, and you will be. And anyone can be successful, but you need to fail first.
Now that you spoke about work, do you think that remote work will be the trend after this crisis?
Of course. Of course. Now I'm working on three different projects, all remotely, and I have no problem with that. I mean, some works will take a huge hit. Some jobs will take a huge hit because they cannot be performed remotely. But any job that can be performed remotely, you don't need to have an office to do that. If you are a web developer, for example, you can do that from home. If you are a customer relationship person, I mean, whether agent, manager, or anything, you can do it from home. You don't have to go to the office to talk to people using your phone. You can do it from home. You can talk to them using your phone, using tickets, emails. You don't have to go to your work. So remote jobs, now we have tools. We have good bandwidth at cheaper prices. We have tools, employee monitoring, clocking in, clocking out. You have all the tools that will help you. You have like Slack, you have Teams, you have Trello. You have a lot of tools that will help you manage your team remotely and even have better quality, because when you work from home, you're at ease more and you can do more. So
Yeah, the same tools allowing us to have this webinar with you today, Kaiss. I think it's time to thank everyone who has joined us in this call for your time and for your interest and your questions. We will give you, we will meet you again next week at the same time with another topic. And I have to thank you, Kaiss, for accepting our invitation and for all the insights. We wish you and your ventures the best continued success.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you.